Hey guys, today I will be unboxing the Arkham City Series 2 figures from DC Direct. As you can see, this new set consists of 5 brand new figures in the line. Starting on the left here is the new Batman variant in his detective mode state. Next up is Catwoman. Here's the Riddler. And the Mad Hatter. And finally Hush. Now for those of you who are wanting to collect these figures, I would suggest getting them right away because many of you have found out they do sell out pretty fast. So for those of you who love the little details, as you can see here, just like with the previous Arkham Asylum and Arkham City lines, the plastic casing does resemble the Batman cowl. And for those of you who want to see, the back of the casing, it's the same simple casing that just shows a picture of all the figures in the line. So for those of you who want to collect them all and you have no way of knowing besides, checking online, you can just see them right on the back of the package here. So enough of that. Let's go ahead and get started with unboxing the new Batman variant. And here's Detective Mode Batman. Now this is how he looks in the game when you activate that Detective Mode / Sonar mode. As you can see, the sonar eyes come out and they are actually painted silver on this. That was something I noticed right away. Now I wasn't too excited when they first showed promotional pictures for this because I thought, well, we've only had 4 other Batmans released in the entire Arkham Asylum and series lines. But when comparing them to, say, the very first Arkham Asylum Series 1 Batman, you can just notice a color difference, and I think it actually has a pretty cool effect to it. Stands about the same height as you can see here, except that the cape on this one goes a little over the shoulders, whereas this one goes behind the shoulders. And this kind of presents a problem here because since the cape is shorter than the other Batman figures that have been released to date, he doesn't stand up very well. Now, many of you who are watching this are maybe wondering, well, how come your Batman's standing up pretty well? And that's because I actually have some museum putty under his foot here. But when you take that out, he does tend to fall over. He doesn't stand up at all, and I haven't been able to figure out what way I'm going to get him to do that other than, using this museum putty. And this is because these figures do not come with their own toy stands, such as the previous lines here, where you can see the little stand right there. So now with the previous Arkham Batman, he doesn't need a stand, even though it's right here, because the cape touches the ground and it actually holds him up pretty well, just in case. Whereas this one, the cape is shorter, so I kind of was prepared for that. So something I wanted to address in this video. For those of you who have problems standing up your figures, you can buy Quake Hold, and this is sold on Amazon for about $4.99. It is worth it. You just apply a little bit of the museum putty. So I guess that's going to be my solution for displaying these figures in my case here in a little bit. But overall, it's a pretty good sculpt and everything, and he does come with a grappling gun. This grappling gun's a little bit different than the one that came with the armored Batman from Series 2 Arkham Asylum. So you can see this one has hooks. This new one does not. This one just has like a handle right there. And so you would just display it in his left hand here, as so. And there you go. Next up is Catwoman. And in just my opinion here, it looks a lot better than when they first released photos of her last year at Comic-Con. And this is because I know they've had time to develop this figure, so it doesn't look as manly in my opinion as it did then. I know some people are complaining about that. So you can see right there, you can see her ears and then her goggles on top of her head. I think it would have been a neat little effect if you can actually move the goggles over her eyes, but that doesn't happen here. There's her accessories that she comes with, and there's a whip. Now, I was a little bit worried about this figure because I thought, well, if she's going to be standing in heels, she's probably going to fall over, just like the previous Batman, who wasn't standing in heels. But as you can see here, she's technically not standing on heels. She's actually, it has like a little plastic covering that goes right across. So that was kind of neat, and as you can see right there, she stands up pretty well. Just take a look at the figure here before we move on to the next one. I wouldn't try to bend her arms outward too much because it does feel a little bit delicate, and I don't want to go further than that because I'm pretty sure you can break this figure easily. They're not built that tough. But there you have it. And here we have Edward Nygma, also known as a Riddler. Now, one thing to note here is he does come with a cane, which is neat, but you need to be very careful not to break his hand right there because there's not enough room. I had to use a guitar pick in order to pry his hand open, just to let the cane in there. And I was a little bit afraid the whole time that I was going to break the figure, but I was successful, so just some advice, just be careful. So you can see the details on his suit are pretty neat. See question marks all over, including his palm right there. Comes in his classic green outfit, and you can see a big question mark right there on the back of his jacket. But this figure does come with a very ugly head sculpt. I don't remember him looking this bad in the game. I do wish that they would have included some glasses with him, but he does come with his traditional Riddler hat, which is kind of neat. You just, here it is right there, and you just kind of snap it on, and there you have it. I just think this figure would have looked much better if they would have included his glasses. I don't know why DC Direct left that out, but I know there's a lot of people's complaint with this figure, aside from having trouble putting in his cane on his hand, but I guess that's that. Next up is Mad Hatter, and just like the Riddler, kind of has a weird looking sculpt to him, but it works. And unlike the previous figures, this one does come with a toy stand, so it does solve the problem if, you know, if this figure didn't, the only reason he'd be able to stand up is because of his trench coat right there, kind of holding him up. But with a toy stand, just kind of place it under his foot, as so. And he stands up pretty well. Even though he doesn't have any articulation in his legs, he does have articulation in both feet. They go left and right, so you can actually stand this up really well. And there you have it. Now, he is a little bit restricted in his arms. You have to kind of move his arms up and down before you move them back and forth. So you can see with his arm here. Can't really move his head back and forth either, but he does come with his Mad Hatter hat. So you just kind of put that on right there, and there you have it. Mad Hatter. And last but not least, we have Hush. Now this figure actually looks a lot better than I thought it was going to look, because I wasn't excited for it at all, but as you can see, he's got the bandages around his head. I had to be a little bit careful when taking this one out of the package because I know some people have been saying that his arms break too easily, but I didn't seem to have any issue with that, so I was kind of glad. But as you can see, his trench coat just kind of flows as if, you know, he's outside and it's windy. Very nice effect. This figure stands probably much better than the other figures in this entire line. So you can see he's got his two gun holsters right there. I'll go ahead and display his guns here for you. So he comes with his two pistols there. Just kind of put one into each hand, like so. And there you have it. Like I said, very awesome looking figure. I know a lot of people have actually been taking off this head sculpt and been putting on the infected Batman's head sculpt and doing a little bit of a paint job to it, just like at the end of Arkham City. No spoilers for anybody who hasn't seen it yet, but I think it's pretty neat. Now, for any of you who are wondering where and how to apply the museum putty that I brought up earlier on the figures, here's just an example for you. I have them here in my detolf case, which of course is made of glass. So I take some of the silly putty that comes here, and you just kind of put it right in the very middle. That way you can hide it better. You'll see here in a little bit what I mean by that. So there's one application, and here's another. Because as soon as you push down, it's going to kind of spread out. And so this will help your figure stand much better, and then you just kind of place it down, and just get it the way you want it to stand. As you can see right there, you can't even see the museum putty anymore. Well, you can a little bit, but like I said, you just make it to how you want it and it'll be perfect for you. And that way, it doesn't fall over at all. And here's one last look at them before I go. As you can see, I do have just this section, the Arkham City figures. Here's Series 1, which includes Harley Quinn, Robin, and the unmasked, infected Batman. So it's kind of neat that I have this little section here. And I'll be here on my other detolf. I have my Arkham Asylum figures, which includes Series 1 and 2. Just some overall thoughts. I do feel that these are a little bit underwhelming, especially when you're comparing them to, you know, the Series 1 and 2 Arkham Asylum figures, which are on this side. It just seemed like these had much better head sculpts. But I won't complain too much about that, because either way, it does look neat to have them all together now. Go ahead and close these doors so you can see what I mean. Next up, we'll be getting Killer Croc and Mr. Freeze in June. So I will be getting those, and whenever that happens, I'll go ahead and review those. Here's just kind of a little update for me as far as my detolf case goes. As you can see, there's my Resident Evil stuff. I have my Hot Toys figures up here, including the Michael Keaton 1989 Batman. And another little Resident Evil section I've been working on there. And then just some Dark Knight figures. On my wall here, this is where I have my two exclusives, which is the Battle Damage San Diego 2010 Comic-Con Batman from last, I guess, 2010, 2 years ago already. It's kind of funny how time's flown. And here's a New York Comic-Con exclusive from last year, which is the Arkham City Infected Joker. These two are going to stay remained in the case there. But yeah. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys soon.